So, guessing we're live. Again, made a double audio mistake. So yeah, welcome back everyone. Hope you're having a good day, and yeah, let's begin. Let's continue working on this inventory system. So today the first thing that I want to do is somewhat bring this to a multiplayer system. With that, we're gonna have a few tiny issues, as in we do need some kind of a calculation which will basically check whether we can actually pick up those items or not, because the events that are getting ran through server have no outputs. So before we actually do run the events that are picking up the items, we got to make sure that, well, we actually have plenty of space in there. So let's begin. The first thing that we should do is replicate our actual actors themselves. So we have the pickup master, which then should have the item variable itself replicated, and then also in the class default we need to replicate the movement and make sure that the actor is replicated as well. Replicate the movement because obviously our actors are movable with the physics and everything going on. So let's see. Now the next thing would probably be to replicate the functions themselves, which are inside of our component. And so let's see, we have the pickup item function, which we are going to have to change quite a bit, first and foremost because of this boolean that I made yesterday, which is a bad one in my opinion. And also we will need to replicate, change this because we're gonna need to make sure that some of the conditions do match up, and perhaps even use a little bit different functions for that. So first let's just make sure that the multiplayer part works. So let's add a server pickup item event, which then we will run on the server. And move this, and so then we want to run our pickup item. We need the item and the skip backpack variables as well, and then we also got to make sure that this component is getting replicated as well. So now that we have done that, the next thing that we should do is actually replace our pickup item functions with the server pickup item event. So for that, Ctrl Shift F is going to bring us this window right here, which is going to allow us to find all of those events. So let's look up our pickup item functions. So one of them is over here, the pickup master, and here we need the server pickup item instead. So it's going to have no branch as of right now, so we're going to have to do some checks beforehand, but we're going to do that in a bit. First, let's just make sure that if we have no limitations, that we can actually pick everything up the way it should be. Then we have the on drop ones, again server pickup item. Also today I'm planning to add one of these suggestions from the Discord about the item movement amount. There was something about the scroll bar, no, not scroll bar, what was it, spin box, yeah. Also I plan on using a slider option as well, and also a editable text. Well, no, I don't think we need an editable text, because I think in the spin box I think you can change the amount either way. So yeah, that shouldn't give us any issues. Let's see what else we have. We have this one, which is fine, and then we have this one, which is this one right here, the pickup item, and that is okay, that one. Yeah, let's change that one as well, just in case, but I think we don't actually perhaps have to, but just to be safe, let's do that. Let's remove this. I'm gonna leave the if branch check for now, and it's gonna be true, so it's just gonna function. It's gonna function just fine. Let's see if the backpack is valid. We have no limitations as of right now, and that should be good. Now welcome Lizard Dude, welcome. So now we actually got to make sure and test this somehow, that the other characters know what each character is holding essentially. So for that, I'm going to, let's see, we need to block some kind of a channel. So let's go to our third-person character real quick. So I deleted the debugging event we had. So for that, let's just recreate this one. So basic line trace on key 1, ignoring ourselves, using the, let's see, we have the mesh. What channels does it block? It blocks the camera. Okay, so let's use the camera for this one, and then let's cast to the other character so we can get his inventory. And so we want to get the inventory component, and we want to get the actual inventory itself as well. From that, we can then loop and print out the row name. If you hear any drilling in the background, know that I have a neighbor which apparently today decided to do a full renovation of his apartment or something, because he's been drilling the whole day. And yeah, the funny part is that I think he's been drilling for the last 6 years, because he's been drilling a lot. So yeah, luckily right now it's quite quiet, but during the day it was quite loud. So okay, now let's turn on a listen server for this. And let's try this out. And again, wrong window. Let's bring everything into the correct one. Here we go. So we don't care about the server. It's not important. It's not gonna destroy. Oh, it doesn't even pick them up at all. Okay, that's interesting. Let's see. So we have this guy right here. It should pick up the item for us. So we have to interact with the object, which it doesn't. So did I break the system again? So what happens if the server does it? It seems to function. If the client does it, he doesn't get the items. Could it be that I forgot to replicate this variable? That makes sense. And again, one of the windows is in the other screen. Why does it do that? So now, here we go. Okay, so we have logs, and let's pick up also the palette. So we have logs and palette, and then this guy should be able to line trace and know. So he has the palette and log. That's exactly correct. And this guy should have nothing. Correct. Let's pick up a blank and a palette. So we have blank and palette, and then this guy should know, yep, that he has a palette and a blank. And obviously the server is going to know everything, because server usually knows everything, and people should know what's in the server as well, which should be just the log itself, and that's it. So log. There we go. So we have some progress. Everybody knows what's up. Everybody has been informed about this. Now let's make sure that the actual actor gets destroyed. So for that, let me actually comment some of the stuff. So we have the E key or key E interact. Oh my god, again, can't type. Interact. So we have this guy. So we have left CTRL and shift. We're gonna change those. We have the key I open inventory. What we have here, drop backpack. Key B drop backpack. So that's not replicated as well, so we're gonna need to replicate that one as well. And this is the debug. I'm just gonna make that red, like so. Here we go. Okay, so now we need an event which is actually gonna destroy the pickup. So for that, what if I don't think it's gonna work? So we have the server destroy if we run this one and then we destroy the actor, I don't think it's gonna work, because if the client sends it, it shouldn't be replicated, I think. So if we try this, yeah, just like I said, it doesn't care about it. Well, it technically does destroy it, but I think maybe not, maybe even not. Anyway, instead I'm just gonna copy this guy into the third-person character, which is the server destroy actor, and then provide the target. So we have that. I should add a new graph and call it server events, and then basically have the server event on a separate graph, like this one. Here we go. So we have that. Then in the pickup from the player, we can run the server destroy, like this. And instead of using maybe a target as a name, I could use an actor instead, so it's not that confusing. Here we go, refresh it. So we have the actor, which is going to be the self. And now whenever we, wait, before we do this, let's delete the old one. Let's try this again. So this guy picks it up and destroys them, and this guy sees those items disappearing. Here we go. The physics are glitching. That is because probably the components are not replicated. So we need to replicate these guys. And there we go. So now the physics should be fine as well. Yep, there we go. Physics seem to be good. So we have those items, and yeah, we have a palette and a log. Correct. So, oh, quite a few people in the chat. Welcome everyone. How to download the single player inventory. Single player inventory, just a sec, my friend. You should be joining my Discord, and then you wouldn't have these questions, by the way. So let me copy the link for you, and I strongly suggest you join my Discord, because you can find all of those links over there. So in the chat, there we go. Here is the link to download the system we made yesterday. So basically what we had with what we started with today. And I actually missed a lot of part. Will you post this video after this stream finished? Yes, also the yesterday's stream is available on my channel. Today's stream is going to be available as well, so if you want to go back and rewatch it, it's going to be available on my channel. So let's see. So we have this somewhat functioning, but now let's think. I want to have a weight limit on my character so that I can't pick up unlimited amount of items, and we're gonna need quite a few functions to check before we actually pick the item up. So first let's set up the limit, and to do so I'm just gonna add a new variable, and I'm gonna call this in the character, and I'm gonna call this or in the character or in the... This is a good question. Should I make this in the character or should I make this in the component? Because obviously the backpack is gonna have a different limit and etc. So probably maybe then in the inventory component instead. So for that, let's add a max weight limit, and this is going to be a float since my weight property is a float. And let's make sure that this is replicated, and let's provide some default value. Let's say like 20 kilos is the maximum amount by default. Now let's create ourselves a new function, and let's call this return total weight. And so this one, does it need an input? Probably not. What this does need is the inventory variable, and we can then loop for each. And then we can break this. I'm gonna split this, get the data table row, plug that in, then the row name, then we can break inventory in the component. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Yeah, in the component. Yeah, so the chat and the stream itself is a little bit delayed, so I'll probably see the messages only just after a little bit, but it is what it is. I'm glad at least that we are on the same wave. So we have the weight, and obviously we need to multiply the amount because every single one of the items, the weight is provided only for a single instance, but obviously we will probably have multiple stackable items for that. And so we have this is the value for one of them. So let's promote this to a local variable, and let's call this local total weight. And before we set it, we actually need to get the current one that we have, so the amount that we have on the player already, because maybe this is already 5th or 6th item that we are checking, so we gotta add both of those together. So the amount that the weight we already hold plus the weight from the next item is gonna be our local total weight. And then once we have completed that, we can then return the function, return node, and plug in the weight float, and there we go. So we have that. Probably this function we can make into a pure function. It's not gonna have any inputs or anything whatsoever. And let's see, so we have this guy, and then we need to rethink the way how we run things. So let's see, total weight. New function probably. Can we pick up? Can we pick up? And for this, so the issue is that this component is also gonna live, it's gonna live in the character and in the backpack. Then the way we add it, okay, so can we pick up? Let's just start with the character and then we'll work with the backpack. So can we pick up? So we want to get the max weight, and we want to get the return total weight, and we want to make sure that the weight we have is smaller or equal to the maximum. And then we can do an if. Okay, so we have this, and then probably we should do the same thing about the backpack as well. So from the player we can get the, let's work with the backpack as well. Let it be. So we have the equipped backpack. Also we should do a is valid on the player. So but this is a good one. Can we pick up? Probably we should, it depends on the priority. So the priority is going to be the backpack, just like in the other series. So maybe we should start with the backpack. Maybe we should start with the backpack. So let's see, so we have the equip backpack. We check whether the player is valid. So if this function is ran, because we will run this function only from the player, so technically this shouldn't be needed even, but just in case if somebody decides to. So we have the equip backpack, and then from that we can return the total weight from the component, and then basically if the player is not valid, then we're not gonna do anything at all, because yeah, I'm gonna run this only from the player. So if the player is valid, then we want to get the max weight limit. Gotta make sure that this is smaller or equal, and then if so if that is true and if that is false, then thank you. Probably I also will want to do maximum weight minus the total weight. So this is gonna return me how much I still have free space in the backpack. So let's promote that to a variable, and let's call this now I need this into a local one instead. Local variable, local free backpack space. So on true, we're setting this to be that. On false, either way, we don't actually, yeah, we don't need if now. We can do that at the end. So basically we could set first how much free space we have in the backpack. Before that, we gotta make sure that this is valid. And then if it is, then we do this. And then if it's not valid, then once you get the inventory component. So I have a driller, I have a police outside. Wild Saturday. So we have maximum minus, and then we have these guys like so. It's from the player component. Wait, we don't even need this, we can just do this instead, the way I did it down here. Let's actually remove that. So if it's not valid, we want to run that, and here we want to run that either way. So we have this and that, and then for this we have free player space. Here we go. So backpack space, player space. Backpack is not valid. If it is, we set that up. Here we go. And then at the end of it all, we could return, and let's see, we probably need some ifs as well. So we have, can we pick up? So probably we need to provide the item that we want to pick up. So we have the slot structure for that, which we could then promote to a local item. Here we go. And then before we output this, let's get the item, or no, first let's check whether one of these is bigger than 0. So if whether both of those are not full, because if both of those are full, we don't need to do anything whatsoever. We're fully full and it's useless to run anything else. So let's do an OR on this one, and then an if. Something with my throat today. Let me grab some tea. Nice. Let's see. So bigger than 0. If that is true, then we could break this, split this, get the data table row to calculate the weight that we are trying to place inside of our inventory. So we can break the inventory, we can multiply the amount times weight like this, and then we want to check whether free backpack space plus the player space, or yeah. So if both of those are bigger than that one, so this one has to be smaller or equal to this space right here. We can do another if, perhaps, or do we need it? So if this is false, then we can just simply return, and let's say we like has space boolean, which is going to be false. We don't have enough space, and then yeah, probably we can just run this has space. Hopefully my logic works. So we have this. Just in case, let's provide this one as well, which should never happen. Better safe than sorry. So if the player is not valid, you return this one, because we should not check this from the backpack. We can just simply check this from the player alone. So should categorize these. So let's call this multi. So basically whether we can use this from a different let's call this bad. We need to redo that one. This is multi, return total weight. This is multi, and then we have like the single ones, which are only the, let's call this player only, on key. Player only. There we go. Now we have some organization over here. We're gonna know what we are working with in the future. So we have all of this set up. So we have the logic and we pick up. So that means that now in the pickup item, or actually in the pickup master, before we run the server pickup item, before that, from the component we can we pick up, to check whether we can actually pick the item up. Let's get this, and we can run a if. Let's do some small reroutes. This one set on true, we can pick it up. On false, we don't do anything whatsoever. So let's see how that one goes. Press play. So we had 20 kilos, which is probably not going to be enough for these guys. I don't remember what weight I used on this one, but just to be safe, let's just put out a bunch of logs. Press play. The character is glitched out, so I can no longer pick anything up because yeah, there's 20 kilos, so that's good. Okay, these guys glitched out. Let's delete all of these and let's add a bunch of player starts. Here we go. So we have a bunch of items and we can no longer pick them up because we reached 20 kilo limit on this one. Now let's say we pick up a backpack as well, which is not replicated, so I'm not sure how this is gonna work. Yeah, exactly like it should probably. And so this one should have the limit working for it as well, which probably it does, but it doesn't. It doesn't function the same way. Let's test this out. Yeah, so it's trying to pick it up on the backpack because the pickup function works that way. Oh wait, yeah, so it runs the server pickup item. So can we pick up? But it should return true, shouldn't it? Player's inventory component. I'm a bit lost in my own mind. Can we pick up? Let's try this again. So I'm gonna pick up the backpack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So where do you add those if you... Oh, yeah, it adds it to the backpack, obviously, because yeah. So it's 40 kilos. Makes sense. Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. So obviously it can't add it to the player no more, but it still has the ability to pick up the total weight that we have between the player and between the backpack together. And then we gotta make sure that it gets split out evenly. So for that, we gotta modify the pickup item function. And so we have taken the safety measurements we need. We check whether we can actually do that, whether we can actually pick it up. And then over here on the pickup item, add amount to slot. Yeah, that prioritizing thing is getting me a bit confusing, but getting me a bit confused rather. So this is a bad function. We need to redo this somehow, some way. So we have this chunk that gets used by both of them either way. So we could probably just collapse this to a function. Collapsing to function failed. Oh, because it has, oh no, it's probably collapse to function. Found too many output connections in selection. Yeah. Collapse to function, and let's call this add item. So that's definitely the add item. All it does is it adds item, and it's going to be a multi-use. So everybody's going to be able to use it, and then this returns the whether it could or it couldn't. Let's see. I have a bunch of local variable errors, which makes a lot of sense. Delete those. Another return over here. I can promote this local item. And then we have the local item. Local item. Local item. Boom, no more errors. Magic. Let's see. We have this. We have the pickup item. Provide the local. We still have this pickup item that bypasses if it skip backpack. Yeah, okay, let's leave it be for now, I guess. Let's see, so we got that. Then skip backpack, if that is true. There's a bunch of up and down logic that I'm gonna have to make. So it's gonna try to prioritize the backpack first, because if the backpack is valid, then it goes up here. So let's make sure that we have plenty of space. So if it is valid, then we can check for return total weight. Now this is an interesting one. How much time will it take to be comfortable with replications and multiplier if I'm already comfortable with solo games? Shouldn't be too long, because it's not too difficult. There is just way more things that you need to consider. Like in the biggest issue, for example, is right here, so that I cannot output whether it was successful or not to add the item, because the server things are events and there's no outputs for the events. So you got to make sure everything is good before you actually try to add the item. And yeah, some of the things are a bit inconsistent that I found, at least. So it's a bit confusing, but it shouldn't be too difficult. Obviously, about the time, it's hard to tell. It's obviously different for everyone. So yeah, but it shouldn't be too difficult. You just got to do a lot of research and watch some series about replication and such. Now I gotta figure out, so we have the return total weight, and I gotta find out how many items I can pick up. So in this one, it's gonna return me the total weight. And let's say I also want to return the free space. Got the total weight. And then we could do the maximum minus the one that we have, and that would be free space. And then once we have the free space in the pickup item, I'm not that far through the tutorials from a few months ago. Should I restart and follow this instead? This is not a tutorial. This is a live stream, me trying to figure out some random stuff, recreating some of the things. I I do strongly suggest that you do watch the inventory system series, because most of the things used in this system is going to be very similar. Some of the first functions that I made are basically the same functions that we used in the previous one. The namings are going to be the same, as in like the local items and equip backpack and that stuff. Yeah, because let's say, like, let me put it like this. For me personally, to learn how to create inventory, I had to create like 10-15 different inventories, and only then I was able to start to figure this stuff out on my own, because you have to understand the base of it, because like nobody is going to be able to create the inventory exactly like you need it to be. You got to figure out what they did, and you got to modify the living out of it. So yeah, I suggest you watch this one, you watch the other one, you go to somebody else's channel, you watch their inventory, look for another one and look at their stuff, and etc. We'll watch this after I have finished working through your previous stream. Great tutorials. Have learned a lot working through your inventory series. That's good. That's good. So yeah, like you gotta just look as many inventories as you can find, go through all of them, figure out what it is from every single one of them that is needed for your game, and try to apply that knowledge to best of your capabilities. Yeah, because basically the more you learn, the more you watch, the better it is for you. So we got to figure out the free space thing. So this is going to be an interesting logic that we're going to need to tackle. So we have the pickup item, and then we could probably get the item data as well straight away. So I'm just going to break this, split this. Let's get the data table row. Boom. And then row found. Break the inventory. No, we need to promote this to a variable, so we need the local item data. And then we have the inventory structure for that, which is this one right here. There we go. Let's do some small rerouting so we can actually see this route. Boom. I got to bounce, but I'll leave the stream running so you can get some view of time. Hope we'll watch later. Cheers. Thanks, man. YouTube likes watch time. That's a fact. That's a fact. So let's see. We have this guy, and then we have to, before we run the server pickup item, so that's for the backpack in this case, we got to make sure we have plenty of space that we can pick up. So probably what we should do is, from the item, we should multiply the amount times this guy times the weight of the item, the weight, and then we got to make sure that this value right here is smaller or equal to the free space. So we're gonna need to do quite a few calculations on this one. So then if that is true, only then we can run this one. Something like that. Again, those reroutes are gonna get confusing in a hurry. Probably maybe just bring this one up. Maybe even promote these two variables. As in, so for instance, so if the player is valid, that's all good. And then if the backpack is valid, Okay, let's promote this to local backpack component. Where did I click? Wrong screen. So we're gonna promote that to a variable. Plug it over here. Or better yet, no reroutes, straight up like this, and then we can reuse this guy. So we have the local backpack thing, which is then gonna allow us to have less routing. That's cool. That's very nice. Leaves the code a lot cleaner. So we have this. If that is true, if we are able to pick it up, it's all good. We're just picking it up, putting it inside of the backpack. But then if that is false, then we gotta figure out if we can pick something at least up. So let's see. Let's do another if. So there's gonna be a bunch of ifs, I guess. We'll see. We'll have to come back to this later and optimize this a bit more. For now, this is gonna be like a rough sketch. So we have the weight. No, we have the free weight. This guy, this guy. So we gotta make sure that the free space is bigger than 0 first. Better yet, that should be the first check. That should be the first thing that we check, whether there is more space, basically whether there is space at all. But where did I check that one? Oh my god, I'm starting to get confused. Oh, I did this in this one. Yeah, but it doesn't tell us which one it is. Could have. Okay. So we do that. So whether we have plenty of, if there is some space. If that is true, then we check whether we can store all of the items. And then if this is returning as false, then we're gonna go down here for now. We're gonna have some more logic similar to this one down there as well. And then if that is false, then we want to check how much free space we have. So we could have the free space. Free space divided. Can I get a... No, I can't get probably that one. So we can, yeah, we can divide float with... Can't I divide float with an integer? Vector float, timeline float, float int, and only multiply. Okay, yeah. So that's no worries. Our logic is gonna function because it just can't mismatch, basically, I think. So we have that, and then we need to truncate. So this, I believe, brings down. Yeah, 1.6 becomes 1. Yeah, exactly. So that's going to return us the amount that we can pick up. And so for that, then we can run this guy again. Or better yet, we no. Let's just run this guy. Let's run this guy. So on false. Run this guy, and then for the item, we make the item. So this is the amount that we can pick up. This is the item that we are picking up, and then we want to, after we picked it up, we want to set our local item to the same item, but for the amount we want to do the amount that we have minus the amount that we removed and placed in the backpack. Should be something like this. That's a bit confusing. Okay, so we're and then we have some free space which we can then go into there. But for this one we then need a similar logic. So for this one again, let's copy pretty much the same code. And we're gonna find out then in a sec how we can reuse that. If that goes into the backpack, and that basically skips it, so we shouldn't even need that much. So we have this and we don't need this. Instead what we need is the local one, because this is inside of this piece that we are in right now. So we can return the total weight. Where did I connect it? So the bottom top, so we got bottom top, and then from these guys, so we are checking whether we have plenty of space. So this one shouldn't even exist at this point, because otherwise it's gonna tell us no, we can't pick it up. So it's never gonna be lower than 0. So that is a useless check because we already checked it before. So all we gotta make sure of is that we have plenty of this space. Or this is running through the backpack. And wait, doesn't this function already? Now that I come to think about it, it might be that it is already working by default. So we have the backpack, which should be able to pick up 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have in the player 5 blocks. If we pick up a few more, it keeps on adding to the player. Okay, so something's obviously wrong. So let's double check this. So first, if the player is valid and the backpack is valid, could it be because the backpack is not replicated? The backpack's picking up is not replicated. So if we try this on the server, yeah, the backpack is not replicated. Okay, so let's just check single player functionality. So it should be so 5 in the backpack, 1 in there, and we can no longer pick anything up. Yeah, so my logic was working. We don't need this chunk. It functions just fine as long as we just check for the backpack. If the backpack is the priority, or if the player slots would be the priority, then we would have to check that for the player slots. And yeah, but since the backpack is the priority, then we check the backpack for its weight, how much we can store in there, and then everything else goes here. So that seems to be good. Now we gotta make sure that the backpack is actually functioning in the multiplayer. So for that we gotta replicate the backpack's variable. Obviously there's no other way about it. You gotta make sure that the actor itself is replicated, the movement, the actor, probably the components as well, because those have some physics and whatnot. And then the component is replicated by default because I replicated the component inside of itself. And then we have the attachment part, which is this one. So we have the interact with object, but instead, First we check if it's valid, and then if it is valid, then we can set it, but that should be done on the server event, which this one is not. So let's do it like this. Let's make one window over here, like so. Now let's have another one over here. Let's copy and paste some stuff. So we have the server events, and then we have a custom event, and I'm gonna call this server pickup backpack, which is then run on server. And then from this one, obviously we need the backpack master. So we have the backpack master, which is the backpack itself. And then from that, we can set our equip backpack. Let's be that one. And then we also, from the backpack, we want to get the static mesh component, the base one. Because for the base one, we want to set the simulate physics. Set simulate physics to false. And then we also want to disable the collision. So we have this, and we also want to get the static component 1, disable the collision for both of those. And then we want to run the attachment node, which is probably not going to function because it should have, I think, a multicast event for that. So we'll see that. So yeah, one of the Discord members suggested that I record this whole live stream and then re-edit this into a tutorial. So the issue with the tutorials, so basically the difference between the tutorials and live streams is that in the live streams I never think about what I'm gonna do. I just do stuff, while in the tutorials I already know what I'm gonna be doing. So I already know all the answers, and if I will have to edit all of this chunk that I talk about some nonsense, it's gonna be a long editing for me. So we have the backpack. Let's check this out. Pick it up. Yeah, that doesn't function, and it even disappeared from the back of our character, probably because of the physics and whatnot. So if we pick this, if this guy picks it up, it functions, but you can see he's gonna jitter on the other people's screens. That is because the set simulate physics collision enabled and all that stuff is not getting replicated properly, and for that means that we need another custom event probably, which is to be the multi pickup backpack, which has to be ran on multicasted rather. And then we want to, I think that we want to run this whole junk right here, and then this one should have the backpack, and then we have the multi event, compile, refresh. And for the mesh, yeah, we need to provide the mesh as well, like this. Could be safer. Have the mesh. Let's see. Pick up the backpack. Okay, so that still doesn't seem to function. Target, snap to target, keep relative. The backpack is a replicated variable. Ran on server, multicasted. Mesh from the character. Obviously. Full. This chunk goes away. And then instead, This one runs the server pick up backpack. So actually I should just, I already know it's not gonna function, but I should probably test it out the way it was before, through this one, like so. Just to check, just to see what happens, but I'm pretty sure it's not gonna function properly. So if we pick up the backpack, yeah, it doesn't even attach it to us. We have it, but it doesn't visually attach it to us. And I can't pick it up because technically it's not there anymore. It has the collisions disabled for it. The others think they still have it because it's not multicasted. So yeah, see, attached to something, error, component, whatever. Yeah, that is because we gotta do it this way. And then we can remove this whole junk. Now it should function. So if we pick it up, oh, it still doesn't function. Now that's bad. Now that's bad. Okay, so no physics at least. So that's a good start. And the server can't pick it up either. Okay, so this guy did pick it up, but for some reason the attachment it attached to cannot be attached to another component in the same actor. Aborting. Collision cylinder. Root component cannot be attached to other components in the same actor. Oh, the target. The target. Obviously. We can't attach ourselves to ourselves. There we go. Everybody sees the backpack. Everybody sees the backpack. That's cool. Can I steal the backpack? Let me steal the backpack. I can't steal the backpack. That's good. That's very good. Now if we drop it, that one doesn't work. Oh, this is the thing I love about Unreal Engine. You can break stuff. Let's fix the dropping. So let's comment this bit. This is the server pickup backpack. And then we also need another one for dropping the backpack. So let's see what we have already about it. Oh. Whoa, what happened? Okay, that was weird. The whole screen, something. Back to normal, I guess. Let me just double check. Is the stream still running? Apparently. Okay. Whatever. Back to dropping the backpack. So we gotta make sure that this whole bunch gets ran on the server. So for that, so if this is valid, I'm just gonna create it here real quick. So custom event, server, drop backpack, which is then ran on server. Plug it over here. Move all of this down here and run this. So if it's valid, then server, drop backpack. And once we drop the backpack, we want to run the server destroy. Like this. So let's give it a go. Pick it up. Everybody can see it. Drop it. Everybody can see it. Let me pick it back up. Something with the collisions is a bit odd. Okay, that's a weird glitch. Okay, let's see. So there's nothing in the backpack, and what if I pick up some objects? So we have 3 logs. We drop that one down, pick it up with another character. We have 3 logs in it. Perfect. Perfect. So let's bring it all over here. Did it break this one? Nope, didn't, because we didn't compile. Then we have the server drop backpack. File and save this. Bonjour! Hello! Hello, bonjour! So, let's see. So we have the backpack functioning, we have the items getting replicated. We can only pick up depending on our limit. And then let's see. So let me open up the Discord real quick. I had a suggestion about that spin box. So let's have a look. So use spin box to set amount of stacked item to drop, maybe editable text also to type in desired amount. Okay, so let's implement that. That shouldn't be anything too difficult to do. Let's go ahead and let's see how we drop items right now. We have the drop box, and then in the graph, oh yeah, this bunch. Oh, which is not replicated as well. Oh, so we're gonna have to replicate this. Actually, then before we do that, we should make sure of one thing, which I didn't test. So if we pick something up in the backpack, so we have 3 logs, move one over here, it doesn't refresh the widget. Oh, it there's items in it. Okay, yeah, so that doesn't work. So, yeah, a drop event is not replicated. The remove amount is not replicated, and this is definitely not replicated, so none of this is replicated. So before that, then okay, so if we are adding that logic for the spin box, then this whole junk can go away. We're not going to use that. We're going to use something completely different. So let's just simply rebuild this thing. So we're going to need these. So I'm going to unplug pretty much everything. So we're going to have these guys right here. And then we also need a drop. We're going to need the drop menu. So UI drop menu. Let's create ourselves a, I don't know, like a drop menu. This is going to be a full screen one. Yeah. So in the middle of the screens, roughly 500 by 300. Oh wait, 500, not 5000. It's roughly like this. So minus 250, minus 150. Content brush tint. Let's make this black. And then need a bunch of elements. So we're gonna have a button. Oh no, before that we need a vertical box, in which one we then need a text, which is like select amount, justification to the middle, then we have a horizontal box probably for our slider, and the spin box. Slider can fill, This one can auto. So you have to select amount, and then the last one is again another horizontal box, which is gonna have 2 buttons. So one of them is gonna be the, so we need the text. So this is gonna be the accept, and then we have, let's call this cancel. So this is over at this side, this is over at the other side. Or let's center this. This. And let me change this up a little bit. Just a little bit. Paste, paste, copy, paste. And then so we have cancel button, and we also have the accept button. So now that we have these, let's make this thing a little bit smaller actually. So it should be roughly like this. So it's 150. And so then this one should be minus 75 instead. And let's make our selection a little bit bigger then. That's going to be the thing that we're going to fill out. So something like that. Perhaps make this guy a little bit more visible. Step size, orientation. Oh, there it is. Style, bar thickness. Here we go. Something like this. Now we're gonna make sure we name. So this is the slider. This is the spin box. Both of those are variables. So then we can go to the graph and actually start working on these. So let's see. We have the slider, and we want to have on value changed. This one is going to require quite a few variables. We're going to need the item itself, mostly that's the most needed one, which is going to be the instance editable and exposed on spawn. And then we can get the item, then we want to get the amount, and we want to multiply, float with an int. And then we want to truncate this one. And then this is approach variable. This is going to be the move amount. Like so. Move amount. And then from the slider itself, we want to set the value so that it snaps to that specific location, so we can't select like 0.5 or point anything, so it's like a hard value. For that we're gonna need to divide 2 values, and we want to divide the move amount, so the smaller number basically with the maximum amount, which in this case is our items amount, so how many items we are actually trying to move overall, and then we are going to be able to select how many we actually do move. And a very similar logic is going to apply for the spin box. And again, on value changed, we are going to round the value, because for this one we don't need to multiply anything, because this one is, I believe, 0 to 1 again, and then this one is basically whatever number that you want it to be. But I'm going to clamp this one, and it's going to go from 1, and yeah, so from 1 up until basically how many items we have overall. And then this one then is our move amount instead. Then we can plug this over here, like so. And also have the on changed. I want to get this one and set its value. It's going to be this one. We're going to create an infinite loop on this way. So probably let's copy this over here so that both of them get changed, not just one. We can basically do the same thing for this one. Get this. There we go. So let's see if this actually does work. Actually, to test this, we're gonna need to rebuild this one a little bit. So we have this guy right here. We're casting to the player, but actually in this situation we don't even need to cast to the player. What we do need is we need to get the item, and then we can create the widget, which in this case is our drop menu, and we just simply add to the viewport, like so. So we have that. We need a return node. Plug that in, compile and save this. Let's have a look. Obviously this is only going to work for single player as of right now. Well, it will show, but yeah. So we have this, we have 5 items, and now if we drop, infinite loop detected on the spin box. Round. It's because we are setting the value because it's already. Could it be this? Try this again. Okay, that's better. Spin box can go to 0, but slider can't. Let's see what we have in the properties. So we have the spin box. The minimum value should be 1, and the value then is also going to be 1. So now, oh, that should fix that. There we go, 1. And then if we change this, okay, so this has no clamp, I guess. You can go insanely high. If we change this, it goes to that. So we have the round, so whenever we change the spin box, we round it. Signer. Let's try this again. Okay, there we go. There we go. We can still go way higher than we should. So we can't set up any maximum value unless on the event construct we get the spin box and we set max value, which in our case then is going to be the item amount, and that is going to be our maximum value. Boom. There we go. Let's try this again. Pick up a bunch of items. I drop. We have 5, and then if we do this, yeah, it's only 5. Okay, so that's good. Perhaps make this guy a little bit bigger so it doesn't get squished in as bad, and make this into like 0.2, 0.1. Something along those lines should be a lot better. Drop an item. There we go. Okay, so yeah, we can drop only 4 because we only have 4. It's actually quite difficult. Why does it jump? Is it the set amount that can be manually set to the spin box? Maybe why doesn't it wanna? Okay, we're gonna deal that in a bit probably. And then this only wants to go to 5. Okay. Yeah, probably nobody's gonna use this one anyway. This is way more convenient to use this one and then just type in the number if it's needed. Okay, we'll figure that out in a bit. So first let's make sure that something actually happens when we click one of those buttons. So we have the cancel button, which is very simple. All it simply does is removes from the parent. That's all it does. It doesn't have to do anything other than that. But then we do have the accept button, which in this case is going to, on the accept, we want to drop an item. So we do want to cast to the third person character. We want to get the owning player pawn. And then from that we, as the character, we can't drop the item because it's not replicated. It's not going to remove the amounts if they're not replicated. So over here in the component instead, we first need to make sure that we run a replicated event, which is this custom event. Let's call this server remove amount at index, which is then ran on server, and then we can remove the amount on index from the item array. Yeah, let's provide an array, let's provide an index as well. But before we can do that, we got to make sure that we actually have that item. We can do that with the find stack. It's gonna find a stack for us. It's gonna return the amount that we have, where is it located, and all that good stuff. Basically everything that we need. So for that, in the drop menu from the player, we can then get the inventory component, and then from there we can find the stack, and the stack should come from backpack or the other one. So for that, probably once we drop it, we're gonna have a source. Where is it coming from? So for that we need the source variable, which is the item's location enum, instance editable, export, and spawn. So we can then do a switch on this guy so that we know where the item is actually coming from. And then if it's from the player, then we run this guy, and then we can get the inventory component, and the item is this item, except for that it has a different move amount. So we just connect the item itself, but then the amount is the move amount that we provide. And then we can do an if to see if we found it. Actually we don't need, wait, we don't need the amount because the amount doesn't change anything.
it just simply finds the item. It doesn't use the amount that's inside of the item. But over here then we got to make sure that we found the item, and that also that this item's amount is the amount we found is bigger or equal to the amount that we are trying to remove, which then is the move amount, this one. Then we can do an if. There we go. So we have that logic applied to it. And then let's see. Actually, so I'm gonna take a small break. I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick, and yeah, so go ahead, make some tea. That's another thing that I'm gonna do, because I'm gonna finish mine in a sec, and yeah, I'll be back in 5 to 10 minutes. So yeah, see you in a bit. There we go. So I'm back. So let's go ahead and let's make sure this is getting replicated. So first we are finding a stack, making sure we have plenty of items, and then if we do, then we can run from the component. So I'm gonna reroute this a bit, and from the component we can run our server remove amount at index. This is the one I want to reroute, and then we also want to get the inventory. So you want to remove that one, and then over here we need to make the item, because here we then want to provide the item, but we want to provide the remove amount we are moving instead. And then for the index, we can use the index that we found, like this. And then once we have done that, then we can remove from the parent. Hey Technico, welcome to the stream. So we have this, then we also want to remove the widget if we fail to find plenty of items. So probably from the cast fail, probably from the none just in case as well. That's a bit messy, but okay. And then for the backpack, we want to do pretty much the same thing, but let's actually collapse this to a function, and let's call this try remove. We have the self to need this one. We have this one. Delete the self to. Have the inv component, something like that. Try remove inventory component, and then for the backpack we can then just simply copy this and get the equip backpack, and from that we can get the inventory component of the backpack. There we go. So that should do it. Now one more thing that we need to do is actually spawn the actors, and to do so let's go to the third person character. Let's create ourselves a custom event called server spawn item, and then we want to spawn actor from class, which is our pickup master class. For the transform, I'm just going to provide a location for that, and then we got to provide the item as well, and make sure that the event is ran on server so that everybody would see the dropped item. And that means that, so let's comment this server spawn item, and then that means we can go back to our drop menu, and we need to provide the player reference as well. So let's provide the player, which is our third person character, which then we can plug in over here. And then if we successfully drop the item, then from the player we can run the server spawn item. So this one right here, plug that in, And then for the location, let's see, so we have the item, which is this item right here. And for the location, I'm just gonna get actor location and get the forward vector of the actor, and I'm just basically going to spawn the pickup, let's say like 200 units in front of the character, like so, and that is gonna be the location, like this, and then we can remove from the parent. So hopefully this works. Let's have a test. Let's see. So we have some items that we are trying to drop. We can drop 1 or 2 items, except doesn't seem to work. Doesn't seem to work. Why is that so? So whenever we click this, let's print out over here. So we tried, and then over here print true or false. Let's give it another go. Pick up a bunch of items, try to drop those, amount to 3, and it doesn't even run it. Didn't even print out this one. Oh, because we didn't provide the source. We didn't provide the source. If there's no source, it goes to the none and it removes it, obviously. We need to provide the source. So for the Dropbox, we want to get the source, provide that one. Let's see now. Drop this, 4 of them. Here we go, we dropped 4, but it didn't remove 4. It did not remove 4. So if we pick this one up now, yeah, it did pick up 4 items, but it didn't drop 4 items. From the server, it's probably going to function. It's probably going to remove the amount. Oh, it doesn't even remove the amount from the server as well. Okay. What are your plans for inventory series? Well, the plan is to, as of right now, as you can see, I'm working on the inventory, trying to keep it somewhat close to the one that we already had, and then continue on with this one, because the plan is that I want to bring in more. Basically, I want to make this into like survival game series number 2, because I already had one with a lot more simpler systems, and I want to make this one into a lot more advanced. So I want to make sure that this inventory is the way I want it to be, exactly like I would imagine this to be, because obviously that one is mainly made from the suggestions that I received, and then I'm going to be building more mechanics when it comes to survival games on top of this system that I'm creating right now. But as you can see, I'm failing at it, so this is going to take a minute. So we have the try remove, we have the server remove, amount at index, which for some reason it doesn't want to run the way it should. This one has to be replicated. No, but this one. Ran on server. So what if we just print this one out? See, what does it tell us? On the client, picking up a bunch of items, trying to drop those, drop 3. So if it runs as true, Oh, it was a local one. True and tried was local. But this one returned as true, but it didn't change anything. That's a bad thing. And what's the difference between these events? Why doesn't it? Wait, once more. What did it say? Precisely. So we drop something. So it's true on server. We tried true on client. So it's true everywhere, but it doesn't do what it's supposed to do. So we find it. Oh, this one should be a AND. But that's not that. That's not the issue. That's not the issue. The issue is living somewhere else. The issue is that this guy right here doesn't do what he's supposed to do. He doesn't remove the amount at index. It does return as true, but it doesn't run it. What if we make this reliable? It shouldn't change it. It's not that. So what if we drop again? Click 3. So true. And what does it say? What do you have? You have a log. Oh, it doesn't print out the amount. So let's go ahead and for our debug function, let's print out the amount as well. So let's say we would append, and then we print out the name, and then the end of the name we print out the amount as well. So let's try this again. Let's pick it up, drop this. So we dropped 3 items, so we should have only 2 left. And that's not it, we still have 5, and the server thinks also that it still has 5. Why? If you guys have any ideas, let me know. Because I'm a bit lost right here. Because this one does return true. And it even returns true as the server. God. This one saying we tried. Okay, so what if this guy does it? He drops like 3 items. Yeah, he has the same issue. Why does he have the same issue? Because it says true. Component is replicated. Could be that the parent component of the character must be replicated. But the parent component, does it have to do anything with it? No, that's not it. Let's uncheck that. So we create a drop menu. Then on accept, should try to remove the items. It spawns them, it spawns the correct amount. For some reason it doesn't remove the amount. So how can it pick up an item and have it and everybody knows it, but it doesn't remove it? One step forward, 5 steps back. -1. It says -1. The amount that we have minus the amount that we are trying to remove, saying that it's -1. Did I make a mistake over here with this logic, or? So obviously at this point the amount is correct. So the move amount should be correct because it's spawning the correct amount of items. So if we drag it and drop 3 items, it does say 3. But then if we pass it along to over here and print it over here, it says three again. Okay, so far so good. And then if we print this one out, we print out the amount. Five. Oh yeah, that's the amount that we have. And then the amount that we're trying to drop. Two, 4. So how can this be -1? If we do 5 minus whatever. Oh, now it says 2. Now it says 1. Now it says 0. Okay, so that was a weird one. But it still doesn't set it correctly. Half an hour looking at the same code, not knowing what's the problem. Drop menu. The array is from the component. Let's try it like this. Let's get it over here. And once we have done the changes, then let's print out the amount that's living there. No, but it is not that. So it does say 2. So it does know that the amount has changed. For some reason, once this is done, it doesn't care anymore. So what if we get a copy to this index, and once we have been finished with this, then we show this. Oh, this is getting very frustrating. 1, 1, 3. Let me try something real quick. So no more print strings. No more print strings. Let's try it like this. Let's close it off. And let's reopen it. Where are you at? There you are. I hope that's it. I hope that's the issue, that it just simply glitched out, because I don't understand why it can do the things that it does. It's still 5. And if the server does it, drops 3, it's still 5. So guys, we have a big problem. I don't really know what's going on, and because of that, if I can't figure it out within the next 10 minutes, I'm gonna end the stream and I'm gonna do some research about why I am stupid. Because this legit makes no sense in my mind. No, that's not it, probably. It shouldn't do that. No, it's the same result. Exactly the same result. You're not stupid, bro. Unreal is telling me something different. Unreal is telling me something else. Damn. This is replicated. Should the player reference be the issue? No, but what does it have to do with the player's reference? Because there's no connection between the player's reference and this part. Because it's still just removing something from the array, but doesn't store the info in the array. So what if we output the array out array, and then we make it into a s slots array. This is gonna be so dumb. We output it, and then we set it. It can't work, right? There's no logic behind it. Oh! Yo. Yo, 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 yo. What do you see? 2 logs. What do you see? 2 logs. If you pick it up, you have 3 logs. Guys, 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 guys. And maybe girls. I think I figured it out, but why? Okay, I'm gonna have to come back to this eventually, because I'm like, this is the part that makes Unreal Engine's multiplayer weird, because I don't like, why? Like, what do you mean? Like, I set the array element over here, and I even remove the index in general if it's empty. So how can this function? Actually, with this being said, let's try something a bit different. So let's say I have a log, I have a palette, I have a bunch of blanks. Oh, I need to give more kilos. So if we drop 4, it removes the index. So it does change the array. It does make the changes, and it applies the changes to that array. So why do I have to set the array to be the array once more? It makes no sense in my mind. If any of you have any ideas of, like, is this normal? Is this supposed to be like that? And should I, like, because of that, should I maybe re-educate myself? Well, obviously I do, but yeah, I'm lost for words, to be honest. Like, this makes no sense. Anyway, let's continue. I plan on being online for another hour at least, so let's try to do some more adjustments. So now we can drop some of the things apparently, and they do seem to function at this point. And let's actually check the same thing for the backpack. Does it function for the backpack? So we have the backpack, we have a bunch of items, we drop some of the items from the backpack. Okay, so now the backpack doesn't work. So now the backpack doesn't work. I am molecular biologist. Oh shit. But why is a question I ask myself every day. I've just learned to roll with it. Yeah, apparently I must do the same thing. Apparently I must do the same thing. I would tell Unreal Engine about it. Yeah, now I'm gonna do some research on this and try to figure it out. But now the next thing is that from the backpack, it doesn't seem to work again. Another issue. Greetings, bro, from LV. Nice tutorial. From LV? No kurs pilsētas, LV. Let's see. So what's the difference? This is replicated, and whenever we equip it, we set it as a server, so the server and everybody is notified about this stuff. We have the backpack master, which component is replicated as well. and everything else is the same code. Oh my god, like, why does it have to do it? Why does it have to be mean to me today on all the days? So let's have 2. That's not it. So here we have 1. From the player it functions. From the backpack it doesn't function. Both of them use the same code. Where is it? There it is. The same code. Could it be that maybe... Is this one broken? Maybe. Yeah, location. Let's just try refresh some of the nodes. Hopefully it helps, but I don't think it will. Yeah, the pins are good. There's no broken pins in here. Refresh all nodes. Dropbox. Refresh all nodes. Drop menu, refresh all nodes. What else I could refresh? The inventory itself. What did I click? Compile. I wanted to refresh. And then also let's get this one, refresh all nodes on this one. I guess I refreshed everything. So we pick up the backpack, we pick up a bunch of items. This one picked up more than it could. At least we can drop them. Yeah, this one doesn't change. This one stays the same. So I'm getting really frustrated. Could it be that these need to be replicated? But no, it doesn't make any sense because those are in the local space, so it doesn't matter, I think, does it? There's no replication properties for this actor itself because it's I don't think I ever even replicated the drag drop operation thing. Yeah, no, that doesn't work. So I don't know what to do anymore, guys. Like I legit, like So apparently the stream is gonna end a lot quicker than I expected it to. Because this makes no sense. Now you know why I have a hard time with it, and most of the time it's a math. Yeah, well, the thing is that in single player, like, it works. The issue is when it comes to multiplayer, that's like a big pain in the butt. Especially because there's like no real actual documentation about this sort of stuff in general. Like, I think like a couple of years ago Unreal Engine had like this wiki page, like already many years ago they had like the wiki site where you could go and read all kinds of stuff about Unreal Engine, and then all of a sudden one day they're like, oh no, we're no longer gonna have it, we're gonna discard it. And so they no longer have that one. They have some poor documentation. Yeah, and then also they had this multiplayer playlist where they spoke about how to replicate variables, how to replicate certain things, this and that, and then all of a sudden that one is unlisted. Luckily I found it a while ago. I probably could find it again if I needed to, which I guess I will have to rewatch because apparently I'm missing something. But yeah, they don't have a lot of actual learning tools, at least not that I enjoy, at least. So okay, so these ones can go back to none. That was pointless, just as I thought. Go back to none. Let me try real quick. Let's debug the backpack part, and if it still fails, then I'm gonna call it a day. Let's see, so we have the inventory component. Let's just give this one a go. Let's print something. So whenever we drop it, I want to let's do it over here. So whenever we do this, we can print the index, and from that index, let's print out the amount that it should have after we have dropped an item from our backpacks. So we have a backpack filled with items. We drop that, drop 3, so it should say 1, and it doesn't say anything at all. It doesn't say anything at all. So we can go a step higher then. So the person from Latvia, so I'm on stream, so I'm gonna talk English for this. So basically contact me on Discord, because I give you no guarantees about Android stuff. I tried it a while ago. My phone was full with Unreal images from testing it, because it was just piling all kinds of random icons in my phone for no reason. So I stopped doing that because I had some issues with the Google key store thingy. So basically message me on Discord in private. We can chat tomorrow, because Unreal is pissing me off today, so probably I will not have a clear head. I'm not going to be the best of help today. So yeah, message me and we'll see what we can do for you. Anyways, so back to this one. So we have the backpack piece. So if I print out hello, it should say hello from the client. So the client should say hello now. So if we drop, click something, accept, it says 2. Okay, so now you're... Guys, I think Unreal doesn't like me today. I think that's the whole issue. So you have 5, we drop this. Wait, what? Or am I totally out of it? Did I pick up the backpack, or did I forget to pick up the backpack and that's why it spammed the amount? Yeah, I didn't pick up the backpack, that's why I said it. So 2. So it does say hello on the client. And then, what does it say over here? So will it say true or false on the client? There's the backpack. So it's telling us true. So that means that it's going to spawn the items, and they're gonna... So basically it's the same issue all over again, but for some reason it does work. It does work for the player slots, but it doesn't work. It doesn't work for the backpack. Oh my god, this is like... Oh. Every time when I live stream, it's very nice and pleasant and cool, but this time I'm thinking like, why did I even turn on the PC today? Where do we I'm so lost already. So it doesn't even run the server event, does it? Server event. So probably I'm doing something wrong. Like the way I launch these things is off. But what's the difference? What's the difference? So on true route, we're gonna print something, a bunch of ASDs. So I'm also not gonna probably have these files available. If anybody actually does want them, leave a message down in the chat. I can give them to you, but as you can see, this thing doesn't work. So I'm gonna have to come back to this, figure it out, fix this. Probably this stream is not gonna be available for too long. I'm gonna leave it up for a while so somebody can watch this, laugh at me, and maybe give me the reasoning behind why it's wrong. But once I will figure it out and get back to another stream, I'm gonna remove this one, so the internet isn't filled with useless, bad information like this like this stream today is. So yeah, thank you everybody who bared with me and joined in on this stream. But yeah, I'm gonna call it a day. I'm gonna do some research today and tomorrow, and I will try to figure it out what I'm doing wrong, because obviously something is wrong. There is something that this thing doesn't like. If owning client, and this is replicated. So yeah, okay, so if somebody wants the files, then I'm gonna upload them real quick, and that's gonna be it for today. So yeah, like always, thank you very much for joining. And okay, never mind then. I want the completed project. Well, yeah, this is worthless. Like there's no reason to use these files. Like, better go and download the ones that I made yesterday. They work for the single player version. This one's garbage. Like I'm gonna clone this project. I'm gonna clone this project, and then I'm gonna see how I can fix this, and then I'm gonna come back with another live stream in hopefully a couple of days, and then I'm gonna have the solution for you probably. So yeah, thank you for joining in. Sorry for not having any decent files for you today, but yeah, we're gonna get back to it soon. So thank you for watching, and I see you in the next one. Peace.